The ANC National Executive Committee this weekend is understood to have discussed Women's League President Bathabile Dlamini's political future in line with the party's step-aside resolution. It's after she was recently found guilty of perjury for lying under oath at a 2017 inquiry looking into the Sassa payment debacle, which almost left millions of beneficiaries going unpaid. Other issues expected on the agenda include the senior leaders implicated in the state capture inquiry report. Regional and provincial elective conferences also likely to be a hot topic ahead of December's national conference. Well, let's take you now to political analyst Levy Ndou. Mr. Ndou, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time tonight. Look, there are different, there's different reporting in terms of what actually has come under discussion at this weekend's NEC meeting. But what do you think the issues that the ANC would not get away with not discussing going into this week are?
Good evening, Kathy. Good evening to the viewers at home. I think one of the issues that the ANC has to take a decision on is on the individuals or members of the ANC that should have actually stepped aside days back based on the resolution of the ANC. I say so because it appears as if some of the members of the ANC appears to be having a different interpretation of the resolution that was taken by the ANC. And in my view, the ANC members and its entire leadership are not supposed to sit down and have a discussion on who is supposed to step aside or who is supposed to stay on within the party, because the resolution of the party is very clear, and all it requires is only its implementation. The ANC will find itself having a long discussion and finding it difficult to have certain members stepping aside because some within the ANC portrays clear elements of ill discipline and defiance of the resolutions of the organization. And number two, you also have known members of the ANC who would always defend those that are seen to be defying the party. And that is what, for me, creates a very, very big problem for the ANC. But my expectation is that I expect the ANC to be firm and to be consistent in terms of decision making if they are serious about their renewal project.
The issue you're raising about leaders more broadly not stepping aside is an important one, because going into this weekend, of course, speculation was that it was in particular the issue of the Women's League President, Bathabile Dlamini, that would come under discussion. But of course, as that takes place, we know that there are leaders in various provinces, including a province like Limpopo, where, leaders who are supposed to step aside are not showing any signs of doing so, nor are they writing the necessary correspondence with the party to at least put a case forward for why they believe they shouldn't step aside.
Kathy, I don't think you need to write a letter and you need to have a meeting whether you should step aside or not. What you have to do as a disciplined member of the party is only to refer to the resolution and then act upon that resolution. Hence, I'm saying that it appears as if there is a clear element of ill discipline within the party, and also the party wanting to entertain issues that are not supposed to be entertained at all, which only requires implementation. The expectation also is that those that are found to be on the other side of the resolution should voluntarily step aside, or the leadership of the party should, at a reasonable period of time, indicate to these people that they have to step aside, obviously through the officers at different levels. And if indeed that has not happened, it would portray the ANC that appears to be inconsistent with its own resolutions, which is selective in terms of implementing its own resolutions. And of course, it will also portray the ANC as a party that cannot be trusted when it comes to the implementation of its own resolutions. Some people within the ANC have stepped aside and based on that resolution. So one would expect the ANC to be consistent, to be firm in its own decisions, because you don't need people that will come out and say some are treated with kid gloves, whilst actually others are treated with in a harsh manner. And that in itself creates confusion and conflict within the party.
Of course, the challenge of inconsistency won't just lie with those that have matters before the court, but we have the Zondo Commission of Inquiry report, 3 parts of which have been made public, and unfortunately, you have senior members again of the party that are implicated and fingered in that report too. Of course, there's an expectation from society that the findings of that inquiry are not going to be in vain and that there will be some accountability. But clearly the ANC feels that they need to think through what that accountability looks like.
Well, I think it's a quite difficult situation for the ANC. But I think for now, we just need to give them a bit of space so that they look at the committee that they said they've established, that is to deal with the recommendations of the commission. Also that we still have another part of the commission that still has to be submitted to the president. Maybe at this stage you can give them a chance to brief and see what then happens when you get the final report. But of course, those that are implicated by the report one would not expect them to go back to the ANC to have a discussion whether they should step aside or not. One would expect them to say, we have got a resolution as the ANC. It says that if I am criminally charged, I actually have to step aside in order to save the face of the ANC. And I think it is time for the ANC members to remember that when they are criminally charged, it taints the image of the party. And when they continue to stay in their offices, they continuously dent the image of the party. And if that does not sink within the minds of those that are implicated, it might also mean that they might be having intentions and good intentions to destroy their own party.
Political analyst Levy Ndou, let's leave it there for tonight.